not an analyst, there's not anybody in the world that can, critique my game or critique the way I want to prepare to myself. So, the off season is all about like retooling, being uncomfortable like Remy was just talking about. That was the most uncomfortable state you've ever been in, and that's good. That's great for you, being comfortable, being uncomfortable. So, the off season when I was winning 4 championships and I've had, memorable seasons, whatever the case may be, and even when I've lost in championships, that doesn't mean that I wasn't prepared. I was always prepared, and I think it's sort of off season.
Let me know what you think. Offseason for me is when you separate from the others, when all the workers and others, it's your chance to do things the work others don't put in.
Exactly. Yeah, I think when you're during the season, obviously you're around your guys. You guys are building towards one common goal, and that's to ultimately host the Lombardi Trophy or the Larry O'Brien Trophy. That is the goal. But the off seasons where you get an opportunity to actually do more, like looking at yourself in the mirror and seeing ways that you can be better. Your teammates ain't with you that much in the off season. You will be with them at some points throughout the off season, and you guys running around and working on timing, or you guys getting to the gym, you guys are working on things. But most of the time, obviously it's spent with family, but also for yourself. Like you have to design yourself to how I am going to be great. Put yourself in the most simulated moments possible. So when those moments come during the season, postseason, games that's big games, 3 and 4 nights. These guys play on Sunday and then have to play again on a Thursday. That type of shit that you have to be able to prepare yourself in the off season for those moments.
I think it's so interesting for for a long time. I ended up playing 23 seasons, but when I was in college too, I was different than LeBron. I think LeBron in a lot of ways had a lot tougher path, for me, because there was always such high expectations for you all the time. It's just high school, and I always admired that he held himself to such a high standard, because the standard was already so high. There was a lot of times in my career people didn't expect much of me, so I had to kind of fight a different way. And what I realized for me was I had that off season. For me, I made it almost feel like it was, when I was at Michigan, for example, I'm in the off season, I made it feel like I was playing Ohio State. I really did. I had to train that way. And then when I got to the pros, in the off season, I would go through workouts with my receivers, and we made sure the ball didn't hit the ground. So if I was throwing passes to Randy or Julian or Wes or Gronk or whoever it was, if the ball hit the ground, we had a problem. And there was almost a level of intensity, because the only way to deal with the stress in the moment, I can imagine being at the free throw line, make 2 free throws to win the game or send it to overtime. And for a quarterback, it's always like that 2-minute drill. So you practice that 2-minute drill like it really meant something, because you didn't want to wait for that big moment to deal with the emotions of the big moment. I always felt like I needed to deal with those emotions all the time. I needed every moment a big moment. So during the season, it was super important to practice hard and practice well, because I needed all those guys that I got in the huddle with to deal with, man, this is big, Cody's gonna yell at me, this is gonna happen. I needed them, to push them outside, like LeBron said, being uncomfortable with, that being comfortable with the uncomfortable. I had to make people feel uncomfortable. I had to make myself feel uncomfortable. You don't want to have to wait till the 4th quarter of the Super Bowl to be uncomfortable. That's the moment you need to be comfortable. So if you can put yourself in that moment, kind of in a way, predating that, then you gave yourself a huge advantage. I think when I got in those big moments, I felt comfortable, because all season long,